Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Fireside Chat series. My name is Fred Kojocheme, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by a very special guest. She goes by the name of D Yvonne Rivers. D Yvonne Rivers. I know her as Phoebe, so I will be referring to her as Phoebe during the program. So, just bear with me and just get ready, to be educated on the ins and outs of business, entrepreneurship, how to get started, how to, do social networking, everything that you need to know to really get started and operate your business. Phoebe is going to help us through that today. She's an expert. She's been doing this for over 25 years. She knows what she is doing. So again, welcome again to the Fireside Chat series. Please just stay tuned. I'm going to play a quick video as we get people to join us, and you get to know a little bit about what Phoebe does and how good she is at what she does. So stay tuned.
Good day. My name is D Yvonne Rivers. I am CEO of the Phoebe Marketing Group. I'm also the creator and producer of DC Shark Tank and American Dream Business Institute. We're coming to you today with the Phoebe Business Report Live. For over 25 years, I've seen businesses fail simply because they did not know what to do. This is what we're here to do, to become your catalyst to success and really teach business owners how they can be successful. Now, the topic we're talking about today is the art of networking. Now, you may ask, is that truly an art? Yes, it is. How many times have you been to a networking event and maybe there are 30 or 40 people in the room and you're going up to them, you're saying who you are, you're asking a lot of questions. And then if they walk away shaking their head, maybe you just did not get your point across. The art of networking is simply saying who you are, what you do, and a benefit you bring to them. For example, my name is D Yvonne Rivers. I am a business coach. I am the creator of the American Dream Business Institute that will teach businesses how to start their businesses and grow their businesses with online classes. How are you doing with your business? Would you like to be making more money? These are questions I would ask that person. And then guess what? I wait for an answer. Once I get that answer, I then will reply back to them, well, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about that? Give them some tips. You want them to remember you not just because they saw you at a networking event, but because they got some good tips and advice from you. And part of that, it becomes the art of networking. Phoebe Marketing Group for the past 25 years have served many different business owners, from the business idea to coming it into creation. And part of that is becoming their catalyst to success. It's not as easy you may think, but what it becomes is you can be what you set your mind to be. So Phoebe Marketing Group, you can reach us at www.phoebemarketinggroup.com, 202-430-0378. See you next time.
Well, there you have it. That's Phoebe Marketing Group, the CEO and founder of Phoebe Marketing Group. That's D Yvonne Rivers, CEO and founder of Phoebe Marketing Group. And again, if you're joining us, I'll be referring to her as Phoebe because she embodies the name, the business that she has created for many decades. So, Phoebe, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Fred. I'm so excited. I just can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So before we get started, let me introduce who we are talking to today. Phoebe, or D Yvonne Rivers, is the CEO and founder of Phoebe Marketing Group. Phoebe Marketing Group is a business development and training firm dedicated to helping your business grow and succeed. Their services include business and marketing plans, nonprofit training, group consulting, retreats, and fundraising and grant consulting. It is a global company which is headquartered in Washington, D.C. D Yvonne Rivers is the founder and CEO of Phoebe Marketing Group. As I have already stated, she has over 30 years of experience in business and marketing. She's a wealth of knowledge. So please, if you are joining us, Feel free to send your comments. We'll be showing them live. She'll be here to answer your questions. Every concern you have. As you all know, in these days, it's not enough to just have a job. It's a very, important thing to have a side business, even if you have a regular job. Trust me, it's necessary. All right. So Phoebe will show you the ins and outs. If you need any consulting help, she is there to help you. So before we get started, Phoebe, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right. And so let me ask you this before we get going. I understand that you've been operating Phoebe business marketing for about since 1997, over 20 years. What motivated you to start this business?
Well, I'd like to say, Fred, that I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and I think most people have been, because actually when you have a business idea, you're fulfilling a need that's there that you don't see. And as a child, I really grew up actually in a rural area. And so when I wanted to make money, I developed a business to make money in doing it. So business is to make money. But in 1997, actually after maybe 2 or 3 lifetimes, and that's another whole story about that I saw that businesses were really struggling. And part of that particular time then that I've done a lot of work with the government, SBA, Small Business Administration, and I'll be in front of a room that would have 100 to 150 people, and I'm a facilitator, presenter. And these are business owners who want to start business, already in business, and they essentially really didn't know how to succeed. And as you noted, the odds that 50% of businesses fail their first year or first 5 years. So people were putting their hard-earned money, their 401k, pension plans, retirement plans, borrowing money in there. Then the business failed. Then they had to go back to that job they hated. So I knew that had to be something there. A lot of the business ideas were good business ideas, but they didn't have the information. So I became that person, that go-to person, that next step person, that person that will help them A to Z to walk them step by step to be a success. So I became a business coach in 1997.
Wow. So you got right in there, to become a business coach right from the beginning. It wasn't something that came later on. You started from there.
I saw it from there. It was sort of a little different back in the areas of the 1990s that you saw corporations were trying to do events or getting their word out or branding themselves or marketing and advertising. So using my expertise of knowing how you market to people, that you have to have that right message. So that's essentially why I go by Phoebe. I branded myself the name of my company. And I find that for as companies themselves, when they have a message they want to give out there, they would come to me, and whether it's me helping them with their advertising, with their actually in commercials, radio, television, newspaper, it was essentially helping them to be successful, because most of the time they were maybe on the wrong track. And what I mean by the wrong track, they knew what they were doing, but they didn't know how to get in front of the customer. If you can't get in front of your customer, you're not going to have sales. And it begins with a sale. That means you're not making money. Therefore, continue not to make money, you will go out of business.
Excellent. Excellent. So, I don't know if you remember this, but you and I, we met in Washington, D.C. it's about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I asked you, I said, do you go by Phoebe or do you go by Yvonne? You said, well, I go by Phoebe. But I said, your name says Yvonne. And then you explained to me why it's important to represent the business that you've established. This is your business. So your name, even though you are Yvonne, your business name is Phoebe Marketing Group. So you go by the name Phoebe. And
if I can say, Frey, a little bit of history about it, is your name really means something. And that name Phoebe was really divine vision. Phoebe comes from the 16th chapter of Romans in Holy Bible. She was a businesswoman of ancient time. She took care of business then. And I take care of business now. So it's really something for me to look up to and to represent when I show up as a woman business owner, not just as a woman business owner, but as a business woman. And that's the whole thing about it. Phoebe, one name, and the check cashes with just Phoebe on the check. Okay.
Well, there you have it. I appreciate you explaining that. So tell me, what services or training programs does Phoebe Marketing Group offer?
Okay, with services from business plans, strategic plans, marketing plan for those corporations who already have started, then training programs for them who have looking for an idea. They have a business idea, have no clue how to take it to creation. So we have
Mm,
training programs from jumpstart to how to grow your business, how to scale your business, and how to pitch your business. And that's something that people really need to know to do. And since 2015, actually, that I've been doing pitch competitions, I started DC Shark Tank in
yeah.
2015. So I had people coming in because I recognized that people had businesses, they were doing okay, but I asked them to tell me in 1 minute who they were and what they did. Just like the art of networking video you showed, that
Mhm.
happens all the time. They'll be talking to you and you leave, and it's like, now what do they do? Have no clue because they're rambling, but you've got to be focused. You have 30 seconds to catch the ear of a client. And if you don't catch them in that 30 seconds, they're going to just write you off and will not remember you. They remember me. And I make a point of that.
Well, for those, of us who are still getting started in business, that's what you describe. What you describe is what we call an
Yes,
elevator pitch, right? Elevator.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. You
Absolutely.
need to make it,
Absolutely.
very quick, precise, and
Yes,
on point.
yes,
The person
yes.
has to remember exactly what you said in those 30 seconds.
Right, right. You want that person to have the reaction, I need to talk to them again. And all you need is that 30 or 60 seconds. Too
Hmm.
many times you put too much stuff in it. So really be, as you say, laser focused with what you say, who you are, what you do, and why they need to do business with you. You got to give them a reason, not just because you showed up, not because you just got a suit on, but why? But why? Give them a reason why. Then
Good.
you can take it from the next step.
Excellent, excellent. So I know you've been offering virtual classes for quite some time now. Prior
Mhm.
to COVID, you were already in this business.
I
So
know.
I don't know if you had some kind of epiphany, but what made you start to do these virtual classes even before virtual became, excuse my language, a sexy word?
Is that a sexy word? Is it really? Well, the thing about it, probably back in 2012, 2013, like I say, I'm based out of Washington, D.C., and I'm a numbers person. I'm an analytic. I'm really, as they say, recovering scientist. And so I crunched the numbers. There are here in the United States, it's 330 at that time. I think it's 360 now, 330 million people. There are 7.9 billion in the world. So I went for the numbers, and the technology was there. A
Mhm.
lot of March of last year, a lot of people jumping on Zoom and thinking it was a new thing. It's been around since 2010, and I've been on it since 2013. So for the
Wow.
past 7, nearly 8 years, I've been doing virtual. So this gave me that opportunity to truly go global. When I say I'm headquartered here in Washington, D.C., I am really global. I had a 7 a.m. this morning, my time in South Africa.
Mm.
I mean, like talking like you and me, just like the technology is here. And anyone who doesn't really jump on global, they're missing the boat because 96%, I think, of the people in the world live outside the United States. So we as Americans need to recognize there's a bigger market out there. And you know
Yeah.
what? I tell people, Fred, if you've got a website, what does the WWW stand for? World Wide Web.
Well, mhm.
Okay. So if you got a website, guess what? You can reach people wherever they are. So jump on it.
Wow. Well, I know you to be a very global person, and you and I have spoken quite some time, and I understand that you're not one place. Even if you are in your house in Washington D.C., you virtual, you all over the place. So you started something called Phoebe Global. Can you tell us a little bit about Phoebe Global?
Well, Phoebe Global is actually a business institute that has the classes, it has training, do strategic planning, even for governments. And it's not just Africa. Actually, right now, Fred, I'm in 4 continents:
Mm,
Africa, Asia, Europe, and basically North America. And North
wow.
America, US, and Canada. And essentially in different countries, a lot of African countries. So the global aspect comes in the basic of viable business model. And what I mean by that, if you've got a viable business model, and I'm a business development and training organization, that's the basics of what we
Mhm.
do. So the training we do here in the US, we do in South Africa, we do in Rwanda, we do in Europe, we can replicate that wherever we go. I have a team behind me. I have 5 people in my team. We present like we actually do training in right now English and French and Spanish. and adding one Portuguese and Swahili. So we're covering along. There's only 2 more continents I need to get on. I'm not trying to go to Antarctica, okay? But I want to be developed in South Africa, not South America and Australia. But the whole difference you have to really take in consideration of is the culture, the currency, and all of that. So I don't come into a country and say I know those people. I really develop collaborative relationships. Because if you remember, Fred, we can talk about this on social media. How did you and I first meet? Do you remember that? You were in DC and we connected. We saw each other in person. But before then, how did we meet? Do you remember?
On social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And I'm very purposeful on social media. So if I want to get a connection, a collaborative relationship with someone in Australia, and I'm doing that now, I'm reaching out to them on social media, develop that relationship. And next thing you know, we're going to have a partnership.
Well, guess what? I think I have some few contacts in Australia if you want to.
Okay.
I think they will be very helpful to you.
Absolutely.
So we can make that.
Welcome. Okay. Welcome. See, networking. That's what it is.
That's it.
That's what it is. But you have to let people know what you're looking for.
Exactly.
You can't assume they're going to read my mind. Well, they know I want this. They don't know anything until you tell them. Okay.
I didn't even know you were thinking of Australia.
Now you do.
Somewhere in Australia today. So it's good that when we talk, we open up about other things.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's it. That's it. Have a conversation.
Very key. Very key.
Yes.
So I know you very excited about Africa. You've been to Africa, several African countries, and you're doing a lot there. What excites you about Africa? African businesses, for example.
Africa, the continent itself. I am African American. I'm a heritage from that. And even though I was born in Virginia, actually in the area near Jamestown, Virginia, where 1619, the slaves came over 400 years ago. But actually, just a quick little story that I grew up in Rome, Virginia, and there I was always intrigued with travel. I'm that inquisitive person. And my aspiration was to become a doctor in Africa and treat the people in there. Because I actually went to medical school. But in travel, part of Virginia and Virginia Beach had the Atlantic Ocean. And I went my first visit to see the ocean for the first time. All I saw was water. And so maybe it was 9-10 years old. And I knew on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean was Europe, the North Atlantic. And the first time I went to Europe, maybe in 87, 88, I'm like, you know what? This is me. I need to travel the world. But Africa itself, that's my motherland. That's my heritage, essentially. And so I see all the things that we have here in the U.S. And really, and Fred, I see where when I come there with basic things that people may take for granted here in the United States, they are soaking it up. It's like, yes. And it's such a pleasure when I see them and what they get from. I just finished training and had graduation last week, and with a group of women actually who were from the African diaspora. They're living in Europe, and they were just talking about, oh, this training just has put me on a step to this, and so it's life changing. So that's what drives me. It's life changing what we bring to the table with training. If someone really is struggling with poverty, as you know, $1 a day or whatever an income, have them use their mind to create a business that they can take care of their whole family. That changes a life, not only life, but a whole family. So that's what intrigues me and really is my passion in my heart.
Okay. Now, I also know that you very much, something that's very much on your heart is women development, right?
Yes.
And you've done a lot in that area. You've traveled to Africa to, engage, several women businesses or women entrepreneurs in various conferences. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. But before I do that, I think I have a video that I want to show our audience about a visit that you did. You went to Rwanda for one of these conferences, and you spoke very passionately about why you did and what you do. So I want our audiences to take a look at this video before we continue. Please bear with us.
I'm expecting hundreds of women to be empowered and to take that step to say, I am woman and actually I can start my own business. That's what I've done for the past 27 years. And I'm looking to actually not only just start here, but I've done globally before. So this is my first time in Rwanda, so I'm enjoying myself. I've done South Africa and I've done Ghana, but this is kicking off point for Phoebe Global Initiative for Women-Owned Businesses. The power of woman. You put a woman any place in the world and she will turn the world over. Because women, we are a village. We are thinkers, we're strategic thinkers, and we can put our heads together and really maximize anything they really want to do. And these women here at this conference, wow, we can just turn things around completely. Well, leadership comes from you having that idea and that mindset that you can lead someone. But you first have to lead yourself. And by leading yourself, you mean you've determined that you can do it. So whether a woman comes from working as a servant, domestic, or whatever, if she has that idea, she can really take care of her whole family. So she then becomes that leader of herself and her children. Recognizing if it's a man in the family, he's the head of the household, but she still can bring in the dollar, or bring in the bacon, I like to say. I get so much from the heritage. Number one, I was born in the U.S., but my history and the roots are really here in Africa. I've done my ancestry DNA, so I know what countries initially my forefathers really came from. But I'm going back and tell the sisters in the USA that, number one, they need to step up. We need to step up because there are African women here that really are doing much more with much less. Have women in the USA. So I really think a lot of times we take things for granted and we don't appreciate what we do have because we can maximize. And I see African women doing much with little. So that's the message I'm taking back.
Okay, so there you have it. That's Yvonne in Rwanda, I believe in 2019.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. So that's really good. And I really like how you talk about African women and what they have to to offer, and
Right.
how even other women around the world, especially in America, can learn from them because they have to do
Absolutely.
little, but still they
And,
get
and if
so
I
much more.
and if I
Yeah.
can say, Fred, that after that, that was a TV station in Rwanda who taped me at that time. And that was at a women's conference, which I was a speaker.
Mhm.
And I think after that interview took place, it was like in the lobby of a hotel. You heard the noise around. There were several young women who came up to me, mom. And it was like, must talk to you, we must talk to you. And I was like, quite frankly, I had to go to the bathroom. They followed me into the bathroom. Okay. Just so eager with this. And they had their goods and stuff. One had jewelry, one had fashion, and they were in the bathroom selling. And I was like, wow, that is enthusiasm. They were going for it. They were students. One I really have taken on as a mentor. So
Mhm.
that's the whole thing. When you have that passion, when I say you really can move the world if you believe in yourself, you really can.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what happens when you're passionate about what you're doing. You're a budding entrepreneur. You just know exactly what
Yeah.
what you want to reach for, and
Yes.
you go for it, right?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so I just want to ask you. I know you've been to other countries as well in Africa.
Mhm.
How has the reception been like? I know you described Rwanda, but how has it been in other countries?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And I really put it to not only just coming with information, and you probably know too that if people who from the States have traveled to Africa or in other countries, you sometimes will get the expert, well, you come from America, so you know everything. Well, everybody who comes from America doesn't know everything. But it's that respect there as well as what am I bringing there? And so a big part of the reception has been the number one, let's face it, I am a Black woman who's in business, who's coming to Africa. And I will say sadly, but unfortunately, and I'll talk about racial diversion or inclusion and whatever, most of the time when programs come to Africa, it's white women. So when they see a Black woman who looks like them coming and training them, it's empowerment right there. So it's like
Yeah.
I have this village and they see that I'm coming. It's always mom. Yes, mom. Yes, yes. Really. So I love it. I love it. And so the reception has been so awesome. It really is leading to other partnerships and relationships that I'm working on some different things with the governments of Rwanda and Kenya to really offer this across the board to small and medium enterprises, SMEs.
Great. Well, so we are joined by so many different people from different places around the world, and I'm going to go over some comments in a little while. But again, if you're joining us, my name is Fred Kude Chairman, the founder and CEO of the Ghanaian American Journal. Today, I'm joined by D Yvonne Rivers, Phoebe, in short. And she's the founder and CEO of Phoebe Marketing Group in Washington, D.C. She's a global businesswoman. She's all over the world. So if you have any questions or you need any help with consulting in your business, she is the right person to reach out to. She'll be answering your questions. If you have any questions for her live, just type it in the comment section, and I'll be reading that, so she can answer it. So Yvonne, one of the things that I want to ask you, how does one build a successful business strategy?
Okay. Well, it starts with the idea. And as I said previously, an idea, whatever that idea is, has got to solve a problem. You've got to know what that problem is. You have to know also who is your customer. Not only who is your customer, how are you going to find that customer? I like to say an answer asks 3 different questions. What are your products and services? Who are you going to sell them to? And how are you going to find them? If you get these 3 questions answered, that's the basic fundamentals of starting a business. But you have to put it into place. You have to put it into work. So whatever the product or service is, be able to know, number 1, that you're capable of providing it, that you know how the pricing should be, you know what the need is. Now that comes for research. Now, a lot of times businesses will start and they'll just start. Haven't done the research of how many people in your particular demographic that you need to sell to or can sell to. Like I always use widgets or whatever, but whatever. Let's say you're a window cleaner. If you're a window cleaner and you're based in DC, you're based in Nairobi, you're based in Johannesburg, well, how many windows need cleaning? That's the second question you have to ask yourself. So not only how many windows, how are you going to get in front of the people who have the windows who will pay you to watch the windows? So some of it is very simplistic, Fred, as far as in how you develop a viable and successful business. But you have to, and I always tell people in my training classes, always write it down. Don't say your business ideas in your head, because if it's in your head, it's not good enough.
Okay. So you should write it down.
Yes, write it down. Those 3
sometimes
questions.
we all know, you may be sleeping and some idea pops in your head. You better get up and write that down, because tomorrow morning you may not remember.
Keep some paper beside your bed. I do.
Good. And the funny thing is, as an entrepreneur or anybody who's thinking of it, ideas just keep popping. You may be 20, 30 years into your business, and a new idea may show up. So you can never say, oh, I'm done, I'm at the top, and it's all over. No, right? It's just something that keeps reverberating in your head.
What I do encourage people to do when you're setting out, what is the mission you're set to do with your business? I think I said for as a catalyst to success. My goal is to be the catalyst to business owner success. One of my other mottos or tags is we help you fulfill your fullest potential. So know what you come to do. Now, I like to stay, I don't stay in my lane, but under my mission statement. And I've added on different things. I'm steadily adding one thing. So I'd say training, pitch competitions, and I have something new I'd like to reveal today. So you're going to get the first time of bringing this out, of training. So training came in, pitch competitions have come in, other things are coming in, but all under the same mission of my company, all under the same mission. Yes.
Good. So you need to have that, hierarchy where, at the top of your company, right? And everything else that falls underneath. And it can be so many different things, because you could be training, you could be marketing, you could do all kinds of things, right?
It keeps happy, because if someone comes to you with some idea, and I get a lot of people come, well, think about this, that's not on my path. That's not my mission. That's an easy no. That's an easy no. So if you know where you're going, you're going to stay on that path and nothing will keep you off. Good. But you've got to first set. You've got to know where you're going. Have to know where you're going.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, we are joined by so many people, and we're getting a lot of comments in. But there's one that I want to throw out before, and I'll give you the opportunity to answer before we continue. And that is from Lisa Stimarge. She asks, Miss Rivers, could you kindly get a consortium of WOSB here in the US, and bridge us to your global mission? We all bring key KSAs, which anybody who wants to know, that's key knowledge, skill, and abilities to execute effective and mission driven. To be effective and mission driven. Please advise. So I don't know, you probably know what she's talking about. If you can discuss that a little bit.
That's probably a woman-owned small business. Is that WOSB
Okay.
certification
Okay. Yeah.
that women will get either from the federal or state entity. You said for its bridge to the global mission. Just as
Mm-hmm.
I said before, what's her name? Elsa. Look in
Yeah.
terms of whatever the business model that you're creating. Create a viable, which means start making some money. Don't try to go global if you're not making money here in the US. Because I'll have some people come to me because I do have a class on how to go global. I can teach people how to go global. And sometimes people will come and they're just starting a business. Well, how are you going to go global when you haven't shown you got a viable business model? That's the
Mm.
so again, with it, is how can you bring that knowledge? You've got to know what you're bringing to the table. As I just say, this does not change. Doesn't matter what kind of business, no matter what kind of area you women working with women and so forth. But I would say also, Elsa, think in terms of what particular global area will serve you best. And I say serve you best because whether you're the CEO or you've got a group of people you're taking, you've got to know per se what country is the best thing to offer to you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've been very strategic in where I go. And what I mean by that, even with the African countries, there have a targeted countries that really will have the best and greatest need of my services. And realistically, I've done some things in the Caribbean and I point out which are my best countries. So you've got to do that, Elsa. You've got to do your research. So it doesn't come that you is suddenly successful. There's, as you say, how do you become an overnight success? 10 years of practice. Okay. So you really have to really put that in. So think in terms of actually exactly what you're bringing. So answer those three questions. What are your products and services? Who are you going to sell them to? How are you going to find them? And determine what global areas you really can fulfill your mission and make sure you've got a good mission statement.
Great answer. Thank you. So we have another question from Augustina Osabute, and she asked, "Hello, D Yvonne, please, do you coach nonprofit organizations?"
Absolutely. Yes, I do. I have a class and I call it the Nonprofit Boot Camp. It's called a boot camp because it's serious and it's intense, because you've got to really be on point because number one, a not-for-profit business is a business. It is a business. And anyone who thinks it says nonprofit means you don't have to make money, you will go out of business as a nonprofit. And I spent some time in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia. The actual Boys and Girls Club of Virginia Beach, Virginia, at that time, the largest city of Virginia, went out of business. Now, ask me how that happened. I saw it coming. How I saw it coming, there was a round table of executive directors. You've got to have a good mission that will serve. So yes, I do coaching. I have classes for that. I even will come into your nonprofit or your NGO and actually work with you and help you create your strategic plan because you have got to know where you're going, not only in where you're writing grants and submitting to funders. They want to know where you're trending. They want to know how many people you expect to serve the next few years and so forth. So strategically, you've got to know. So yes, I do. So check my website out for that.
Okay, great. So considering that we have two women that asked you two specific questions, and two African women, I imagine, I want to play your video. I believe the video that you did in Rwanda, right? Is that what I just played? Or that
You've already
was
played that.
okay?
At,
That's the one that
at the women's
I know you
conference,
have
yes.
a couple other videos, but hopefully we'll get to it if my team is able to send that to me. But yeah, so those are two women who are also heavily engaged in their business and doing whatever they can to change the world. So I'm glad that they're able to be ask questions and you've been able to answer them.
Right.
And
And regarding nonprofits, Fred, let me talk about this because I actually had a session with someone, I think, I'm not sure, Ghana, Nigeria, doing great work in the community. They're pulling out money out of their pocket the past 4 years to do programs. I think it was women and teenage girls. And I said, you can't do that. You've got to have a strategic plan. You've got to be able to get funders. You will not get funders if you're not able to tell your story. You have to know your story. You've got to know your numbers. You have to know who you're reaching. And you've got to show them a reason for people to put money into you. And they did not have that. So I asked them to send to me for is what they were doing. Me and my staff are we will work with some people and see some are not ready to get funded. And what I mean by that, they're not focused enough. You have to have a strategy behind it. It's
Mhm.
not, it's something that's very strategic with an infrastructure, a blueprint. I like to say, if you don't know your blueprint, you can't build a house. And
True.
if you don't have the blueprint, you're not building a house and you're just out there doing stuff. And doing stuff will not get you funded.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to ask you a question about bootstrapping,
Mm-hmm,
later on down the show, because most entrepreneurs, begin by bootstrapping, which means
mm-hmm,
you use your own money, every little
mm-hmm,
bit they have to put into
mm-hmm,
the business to keep going, to keep pushing
mm-hmm.
it. But the question is, where does it end? Right? At what point do you start bootstrapping and, making sure that people are putting money into your business and you can kind of turn that around? So I'll ask you that question down the line. But before I do that, how does one stay true to their organic business idea? If you have a strategy, how do you stay true to that original strategy and yet, be open-minded about other, inputs or ideas that people give you?
Well, if you have for as a strategy, the strategy will change, Fred. So that's what you need to be open to. That
Hmm.
you've got to have strategy that works. A problem that a lot of business will do, they think of one thing, they put it into place, but then they don't test and measure. And what I mean by test and measure, they may start a project, they may start a training, and they get some traction in the very beginning. They don't know where the customers came from. They need to know where their customers came from. Just like Fred, I asked you, where did you and I meet? I can tell you from everyone I'm doing business with, everyone I have a memorandum of understanding, everyone I has a contract with, everyone I has an agreement with, I know exactly how I got them. I know how I got them. If you know how you got clients, you can get more. But if you don't know how you got them, you can't get more. So the strategy itself is based on what's working, and you've got to make sure it's working, and not only just bringing in money, but bringing in a profit. And that comes for the fact, if you're not tracking your numbers, you may say, oh, I got money in the bank. Okay, just because you have money in the bank don't mean you got a profit.
Okay.
Two big things. Two
Yeah.
big things.
Okay. All right. So back to that, having money in the bank and spending that money on your business or other things. So, is it the best way to begin, a startup, by bootstrapping your business, or should you go out to seek funding right away?
Well, I would say number one, most of the time, no. The answer is no.
Hmm.
And I'll say, I'll qualify that by saying, depending on the industry. In the tech industry, a lot of technology and so forth, building apps, and so you may need for his money. But I still will say, people, put some of your money in to get something done. Because quite frankly, I don't care who you talk to, for as venture capitalists, investors, banks, or whatever. If you haven't put money in your business, why should they? That's the first question they're going to ask you. And especially when you're talking about fours and venture capitalists, or you want to go to a Series A funding and whatever, or even on Shark Tanks or pitch competitions. Why should someone invest in you? You need to show that you can make money in your business. You need to show that. And how are you going to do that? You use what little you have to get what you want. And as you say, how do you know what's working? Well, you track and see. Okay, you want to start a business, let's say selling baskets. You make baskets, you want to sell baskets or whatever. Then make some baskets, put out of your money or whatever. Go buy the materials, do the baskets, sell them, and make sure you're getting a profit now. And then you see how many baskets you have to sell to make a profit. So you then know, so you then have some money to put back in your business. Now, let's say you want to expand and you want to buy into a storefront or get an online e-commerce site. Then you look at, okay, I've made $10,000 in the past 6 months. So if I
Hmm.
had spent 2,000 of that, but I really need five, so let me leverage what I have. That's the other mistake people have. They really want to get fours and spend, not spend it all, but you got to leverage. If you need five, then have a line of credit or use something, not I won't say necessary equity, but an investment or whatever with 2,000, so you don't risk all of your cash reserves. Because let's face it, that's the difference between people going from a paycheck. Entrepreneur, when people ask me, when's my payday? When people pay my invoices. That's my payday. So sometimes it's every day is my payday, which is great, but you don't know when it's going to happen. That's why you have to be very judicious in how you spend your money, having a cash reserve so you can do the things you need to do to stay in business. Because at any point in time, you cannot pay your liabilities. You are insolvent. You are technically out of business.
Okay. All right. So for anybody who's kind of start getting into a business, of entrepreneurship, how does a budding entrepreneur know he or she is in the right position to kickstart a business or a business idea? Maybe they came up with an idea, but they're not so sure yet. As you all know, it takes, you question yourself so many times to know if your idea is good enough, right? So how does someone know that, okay, I'm in the right position or right time to jumpstart this business?
Well, number one, the business idea you may have, you really need to do some research. It's about numbers. I tell you, it comes down to numbers. Marketing is about numbers. Everything will come down to numbers. So, whatever that idea is, how many potential customers do you have? Have you done any testing? Have you done a focus
Mhm.
group? In other words, I, I get a lot of people, well, they either good cooks, they can do this or whatever. Well, test it. How many people for as in a focus group think it's a good idea other than you and your family? Okay, that's the first step. Other than you and your family, because the mistake a lot of times people they go to their family and friends. Go to people who don't know you, and then present your product and service and see if other people will buy it. Do the research regarding
Okay.
whether the numbers are there. Do some testing and measure, and just do it. Get started. If it's called a soft launch or whatever you want to say, start doing it and see if you can make money with it. But recognize how you're making money and who's your customer. If you find customers, a particular demographic like teachers or women or whatever, then go after more of those. It comes down to, I don't want to say common sense, but it's strategic sense. And you
Mhm.
have to have that strategic plan.
Great, 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 great. All right, that's very good. So tell me, I want us to talk a little bit about social media, but before
Mhm.
we do that, I know you have some really good insights about, an elevator pitch because that is a big thing. I mean, even for
Yeah.
people who've been in business for a while, that's still, very
Yep.
difficult for them to come up with that 30 to 60-second pitch and say, okay, this is who I am. Because a
Mhm.
lot of us don't feel comfortable talking about who we are,
Mhm.
so how do you do it? What are the effective strategies to do that?
Well, you have to register for my pitch class. That's what you need to do.
That's it. That's it.
And it comes down to you. I've heard it. I've said it all this afternoon. Who you are, what you do, and why someone would want to do business with you. Hi, good evening. My name is D Yvonne Rivers, otherwise known as Phoebe. I am CEO of Phoebe Marketing Group. Since 1997, I've had helped businesses achieve success because I provide them the training they need to be able to know how to start their business and grow their business. That's through training of making sure they're on point with their customer, they're on point with their numbers, they're on point with their prices, and they need to have someone face to face, back to back to take them A to Z to where they want to be. If you want to be a success, call Phoebe. That's my pitch.
Wow. That's very good. You do it so well, very seamless, and we hope we all get that kind of expertise, one day to be able to just deliver it that way
Take my
because
class, you will.
we'll definitely do that, because, it's one of those things that kind of keeps somebody thinking about you, after if you're the last person they met, they say, hey,
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
was this person talking about? Right.
That,
So,
that that's the point. That's the point, Fred. I tell people, well, what's the purpose of a resume? The purpose of the resume is to get an interview. Okay. Purpose of the pitch is to get another chance to talk to those people to either sell them a contract, get funding, or to bottom line make money. You're
okay.
not necessarily going to do a deal right there after a 60-second pitch, but it puts a bug in their ear. And
Hmm.
I can count off the contracts that just with a 60-second pitch got me back in the door with contract and money.
Okay, okay, that's very good. So, also, can you tell us a little bit about, some do's and don'ts of social media? You've been in the business for a while, but you're not someone who's just been in the business. You actually been involved as the years
Mm-hmm.
go by, the decades go by, with all the new technology and everything happening.
Right,
You're
right.
very knowledgeable about everything that's going on. So, can you tell us what are some do's and don'ts that you advise, new business?
Well, I go with whatever you do, do well. My only competition is excellence. And I'll say that
Mm,
again. My only competition is excellence. I don't try to be in everything. And I don't have those million followers in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. But the followers and the people who I engage with, I get traction with because
mhm,
I connect with them. So many times people will think, okay, if I got 10,000 followers, I got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, Facebook, and whatever. And all I've got to do is do a post and they're just going to come flooding to me. Not so. It's
No.
not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to create that strategy, and it's called a marketing strategy on how you're going to reach out to them. And actually, a big portion of my business globally, I really connect through social media, like I met you on LinkedIn and other places, and essentially of my pitch online. So I have a LinkedIn pitch, I have a
Yep.
Facebook pitch, and
Wow.
that's not me talking, that's in writing. So it's got to be very specific. So they get the idea when they see in writing the idea that they want to talk to me. So I have administrative managers. So like I may meet some people, and maybe some people on this session today may reach out to me. So my next step is to, okay, see about them, asking some questions and learning how to do this, because it's about marketing. So it's, in other words, once you have a template of how you can reach out to people or your pitch that works for you, you want to do that as many times as you can. So if I say about social media, so if you're on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
engage in Facebook, do some Facebook lives, do
Okay.
some posting, do some hashtags. People don't hashtag, or they don't hashtag the right thing. I had an interview from Pakistan probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe less than a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him, he reached out to me. I said, how did you find me? Well, he put in hashtag entrepreneurship, and I came up on the first page.
Oh.
It works. So,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
so use what works, but you've got to be engaging. And if someone responds to you, comment to you, reach out to that person. Too many times people don't reach out and think it's all just, they're going to come knocking on my door for business. Not, not, but they will if you've set up the process to bring them into the door and give them a reason to knock on your door. But
Great.
you've got to have a strategy for social media, and do whatever you do well. And that's why I say I'm pretty much done. So on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, what's the other one? Twitter. Those are my
Twitter.
main things that
Mm-hmm.
I'm on. I know it's a lot of other things out there, but you know what? I mean, like, not to say I'm not going to go in it, but I'm maximizing. So whatever I do, I'm going to maximize. I'm going to get, as I say, all the money off the table wherever I'm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I'm getting from what you're saying is engagement, engagement, engagement. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
in a
Yes.
business, engage with your customers, your
Yes.
audience,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
that's the only way. I've
Hmm.
spoken to a couple of business owners, and I said, I see you have a product, but
Hmm.
I don't see your face on the product or around the product, right? So if I go to your website or your social media page, I don't see your face. Who is the owner of this business, right?
Hmm.
And they say, well, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to put my face out there. I don't like that, that. And I say, okay, well, I don't like being on camera. Believe me, I hate being on camera, but I'm forced to do some of these things
Right.
because
Right.
you have an audience, and that you have to find a way to engage them somehow,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Give them a
Hmm.
good product, right?
Right.
So you have to find a way, a comfort zone to kind of to put yourself out there. So
Hmm.
at least you should try, right?
Right.
But just
Right.
being anonymous, even though you're trying to sell something, I don't know if it works too well.
Well, it necessarily, now I see part of it, and maybe some years ago, I didn't always have my face on my website. In particular, reason why I chose that. A lot of times, and I'll talk about for as a race issue or sex issue or whatever, Phoebe is sort of anonymous unless you know the history about Phoebe, or assuming I'm a woman-owned business and so forth with that. But I would focus on the products and bring it. But representing, when you're out representing your company, whether it is in networking or you tied into it, especially if it's a personal product, yes, I would say have your face or whatever on the website. But you've got to be out there. You've got to be that. You're speaking for yourself. You've got to be your own spokesperson.
Right,
And I'll
right.
say again, do not be shy. My theme for 2020 and 2021 is be bold and bodacious. Because if you will not get the business unless you ask for it. And that's a big, extreme mistake. I see so many businesses, they'll have a good social media posting, they'll have a website, but then when they talk to conversation, they don't ask for the business. They'll be
Mhm.
talking about, well, our company's been around 20 years. We've got these products. We got these products. I come down to say, are you ready to do business? And when can I get the check? I mean,
It's all
you
about the
have,
money,
you
right?
have, it's not all about the money, but unless you make the money, what is the purpose of you spending that time? one big thing. I'm a social entrepreneur. I do business to do good, but along with it, why am I spending even 30 seconds or hour session with you or
Mhm.
collaborative on Zoom if I'm not going to ask you for the business? I'm a
Right.
consultative approach. I'm going to find out what your needs are. But once
Mhm.
I've determined what your needs are, I'm then going to say, are you ready to engage and start with me? It's either yes or no.
Right. Right. Very well
Mhm.
spoken, and I totally understand that, and that's what it is. Our time is money, right? Our
Yes,
time is money. So,
absolutely. Time is money as well
yeah,
as know your value. Too many
yeah.
people don't know their value. And I'll say in a minute, if someone really has a problem or don't, well, I won't say, I used to say it, I don't say it anymore. I say my best compliment was people tell me, Yvonne, you're too high. You know, your fees are too high. Well, that just tells me they're simply not my customer. That's all. That's all it tells me. Because people who are my customer recognize the value I bring to the table. And I don't back away from the table and try to apologize for what I'm
Mhm.
bringing to the table. So everyone has to be bold and bodacious about that and
I
knowing
like
the
that.
value you bring. Yes,
I
don't
like
back
that.
away from the
I like
table.
it.
Do not back around from the table. No, no.
That's
Because
very good.
someone will come to the table who is your customer.
Yeah,
Everyone's not your customer. I'm not
yeah,
trying for everyone. Not.
yeah. Some, often we kind of shy away from, asking for what we are worth, because
Mhm.
we don't want to offend the customer. We want, but you need to ask for what you are worth, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
nobody's going to see your value unless you let them
Right.
know what it is, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So as we're talking about making money, we also looking at, the fact that sometimes it takes time, right? To you have to
Mhm.
really build your business, as you said before.
Mhm.
So how does an entrepreneur develop the skill of perseverance, right? How do they ensure that they have the long view and that it takes time to really craft,
Yes.
develop your craft, and then before you start making money, because it's not going to come overnight.
Right.
How do you do
Right.
that?
Well, part of it, some of the answers are going to be the same because it's back setting that strategy, setting that viable business model, and have your marketing strategy. Now it's going to take time for you to get your name out, get your brand out, or whatever you're selling or
Hmm.
servicing for you to see the return. I tell people now, and I'm gonna speak about COVID also,
Hmm.
is what people are getting now. This is February. Well, tomorrow is February 1st, Black History Month here in the United States. So what money you will make in February is for the work you've done probably in November or December. 2 or 3 months pass. So you're going to have that gap in there. So you've got to plan ahead forward with your marketing. If you can't have it in the next 2 weeks and so forth with that. So it's like planning with that. And then when
Okay.
you're planning for that, if you see that you're not getting the results you're looking for, first go back and ask yourself, were they realistic results? It's got to be realistic results because sometimes you can set yourself up. Oh, I'm gonna make $10,000 in the next 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever, and maybe it wasn't realistic. Maybe it wasn't. So it goes back to that whole. You've heard the book for setting goals, the SMART, smart,
Mhm.
specific, measurable, and so forth. So you've got to have good goals with that. But if you're on point and constantly watching what you do, and you see something's not working, you do have to sit back and see this is not working. Brainstorm, pull some people together if you got an advisory board, and just look at what your business is doing and determining whether of moving forward with it. It may cause for you to put more money into it. If you're losing money now, find out why you're losing the money. Get the answers to those questions to determine that. But if your mission and your passion is for it and you know that you've done your research all along, that's why I don't say I never regret it, not regret, I never went back because I knew my purpose. You've got to know the purpose. You've got to know the passion, know what you bring to the table. Always knew that. Oh, there were
Okay.
some lean times, real lean times, but through it all, I knew I would make it. I knew it would make it. I had to sit back sometimes and pivot to prosper because that's what people are having to do now with COVID-19. Is the fact since March of last year, almost 1 year, some business have gone out of business. But for
Hmm.
those who haven't, even back starting in March, and I started some classes back in March, how to pivot and prosper during COVID. Because I really say COVID-19 was really an opportunity, not a threat. 2020 was one of my best years ever.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing to hear. And I had it's something I thought about before, when I was planning this, and I said, okay, how do businesses know when to pivot? Because that's always
Mm-hmm.
the challenge. Because I
Mm-hmm.
have idea and so great, and this is it. I don't want to bend. I don't. It's so rigid. You know, we're not flexible enough to say, okay, what else can be born out of your original idea?
Exactly.
So how do we know when we have that? That when the intuition comes, to pivot.
And it is intuition. It is following the trends. And I used to do this. I don't get a printed newspaper anymore, but I used to get a printed newspaper, and I would read the Washington Post, the New York Times. And 9 times out of 10, every newspaper I could see a new business or a new arm of my business. And what I'm speaking about, people talk about, okay, during this pandemic, during the recession or whatever, 2008, when the real estate bust was, Airbnb was founded. Uber was founded. So the timing of it is based on when the need is. Yes. So that's why I say COVID is an opportunity here. But in answering for is how you get into trends and whatever. Back again for is my global. I knew virtual. I didn't know the pandemic was coming in 2020. So it was like, okay, y'all getting on board with me now. Okay, where I've been there 7 years. But it's like my purpose was reach globally beforehand, whereas now people are using the technology to have virtual because that's the only opportunity now. Right. So it's always the key thing of looking at trending, see what's going up, look at for regarding housing, regarding corporations, because some of my things that I was doing for corporations, like major corporations, I'm now doing it maybe with leadership, with executives there. So I'm always looking at that. I'm sort of pivoting some of the things I'm doing, putting a little twist to it. Because I've also done like brand marketing and corporate sponsorship for major corporations or major events. That put me in line with actually knowing heads of corporation who fund and sponsor events. They are now some of the sponsors of my pitch competitions. Wow. Microsoft and so forth. So it's like you use what you learn over the years to still keep Rolodex and still keep those connections.
Yeah. So in the spirit of using what you've learned over the years, I'm a big follower of how I built this. This is an NPR program by Guy Raz. And I'm a dedicated listener, because it's a podcast that tells you so many things about business and how to start a business. You have some of the top CEOs in America, entrepreneurs who started their business from scratch, coming to tell you how they build their business. Yeah, failures because it's not always success, right?
No.
Somewhere, how they got money, how they bootstrapped and everything like that. And they show you how they did it and what mistakes not to make, right? So I listen to it religiously, and I encourage everyone to check it out. It's a podcast. It's a free podcast on NPR.
Yeah,
it's called good. How I Build This. I actually bought the book. Guy Raz just wrote a book.
Okay.
It's called, How I Build This. So this book tells you everything you need to know about starting a business, right? What to watch out for. It's here. You go to all the major bookstores, they have it. I'm not getting no credit for this, but it's such an important book that I think everybody should have. And there's another book that I also want to share with everyone who's watching, and it's called Use What You Have, right?
Oh, yeah. Forget what you want. I say it all the time.
Right? Because, we all have so many things within us, but because, we don't know the left and right of, doing a business or, starting a business, we just let it go and we just work for someone forever. It's okay to work for someone, but if you have some skills or some passion, you may be able to turn it into a business. So this is another book by Jack Nadell, and you can check it out. You may get some tips from it. And again, if you need more tips, you need some one-on-one, someone to hold your hand, you could reach out to Yvonne, Phoebe Marketing Group, and she can help you get your business started. So Yvonne, as we wrapping up, we have some.
Can I talk about my class coming up, the Jumpstart and the New Opportunity? Okay.
Yes, we're going to get there in a few seconds. But I have a couple more comments that I want you to.
You see how I asked you for what I wanted?
Man, I'm not surprised because I know Yvonne, I know you, right? I know what to expect, right? You have to ask for it, you have to demand it.
That's it.
Okay, so let me ask this question. This is from Augustina Osabute again. She said, please, do you mentor young women apart from coaching? I don't know if I asked the right question. Well, so she's asking if you do mentoring for young women.
Not on an individual basis. I do
Mhm.
work with NGOs who have maybe young women mentoring programs because it's really important on how they set that up. So if you're involved with any young girls or whatever, and there's a nonprofit or even a for-profit organization that work with them, have them reach out to me. That's something that I do and part of my strategic planning services that I provide.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So we have another comment from Miss Felicia Archer, and she says, "Thanks, Miss Phoebe. We are grateful for this wealth of knowledge. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
her. She's one of our committed listeners, and we appreciate her." And then Alisa says, "Yeah, it is painful." Well, I think that's what we're talking about. You know, yeah, really pushing your business out there. And then we have
Mhm.
Franklin Osei, who says, "Very informative session. Good job, Fred. Thank you." And Ms. Heribechi says, "Do you offer internships for upcoming youths?" I think that's what you just answered. If you want to
Yeah,
answer that again.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's and the thing is, I would say for his internships, that's an opportunity. When people say, "Do you offer something?" They're looking for something. See, that's a need.
Hmm.
If you can provide that need, hey, fill it. That becomes a business. So if
Okay.
there's a need for internships for youth in particular areas, well, if no one's offering it, then you decide for as you can do that. You develop your programming with it. And if you're going to do it as a nonprofit or NGO, you get funding for it, then that solves the need. That's the whole thing. We need more innovators to solve needs, to
Yeah.
solve problems. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you so much. So the other question I have, um, do you have any new initiatives coming, from the Phoebe Marketing Group camp? I mean, is there anything new that you have coming? I think this is probably a great opportunity to talk about your upcoming session.
Yes, yes, and it all goes together with it. Jumpstart your business is one of the classes I do, grow your business and so forth. So one of my initiatives I'm starting actually beginning, well, it'll be actually today. The class is going to be February 10th, beginning next Wednesday. It's a jumpstart class. And I've got a special today promotional value of say $50 to go into. This is 3 weeks of class. But
Hmm.
part of this 3 week class of Jumpstart is going to be the first initiative of the Phoebe Funding Initiative. I
Okay.
see so many different businesses, and I do invest. I'm a micro investor myself, and I actually invested in a pig farm in Ghana. And I
Oh.
grew up on a farm in Virginia, which is wow. So, but I'm starting a funding initiative, which is essentially that in 2015, when I did DC Shark Tank, and I actually got involved, and some people, my clients who went to the Shark Tank show and so forth, that people will go after competition with funding, but then they didn't know how to use it. And then that funding itself didn't replicate, or they weren't able to turn it over 3, 4, 5, 10 times. So with a 6 week program, and the first 3 weeks is going to start February 10th, it's called Jumpstart. People coming and registering and enrolling in this 6 week program, that at the end of that program, right now I've designated at least $1,000 that I will fund a business. Now
Wow.
people may ask for is, well, okay, what can I do with 1,000? I can show you a way you can use this 1,000 to turn it into 10,000, that 10,000 into 100,000, that 100,000 into a million. It's doable, it's reasonable. But the problem, Fred, is most people don't know how to leverage that, and they don't know how to use what they have to
Hmm.
get what they want.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
that's what this would be. So this would be a program, it's a class, a presentation, 3 weeks, 2.5 hours each week. Initial cost for the first 3 weeks is $249, but I have a special today if you sign up before Friday, the next 7 days, Friday midnight. It's only 100 Black History Special for $199. Finish that 3 weeks and another 3 weeks, and those coming out of that will do a pitch to me
Okay.
as an investor. I will choose at least one, maybe more. But the plan is this is the first cohort of the Phoebe funding. I
Mm.
want to businesses as a business ecosystem up under the Phoebe umbrella that essentially people can come under coaching with me, that I will first give your initial seed money, seed capital, show you how to build it, and for you to grow that business, get other funding, or bottom line, make money. So if you're interested in really learning, because you got to go through the training first. Because like I say, people can go on Shark Tank or go pitch competitions, win 20, 30, $40,000. have no clue what to do with it the
Mm.
right way or the best way. So the Phoebe Funding Initiative, that's what I'm premiering here today on your show.
Wow, that's really amazing. For you to tell us that, the Phoebe Funding Initiative, because
Mm-hmm,
we always talk about, businesses lacking funding, right? They
mm-hmm,
don't know how to start because they have no money. They have a
mm-hmm,
great idea but no money, and that's
mm-hmm.
always been a problem in business. So,
Right, right.
this is a very good way for people to learn about how to,
And
raise money.
and a big part, Fred,
Mhm.
I would say, I don't know how many listeners you have. If the listeners just ask themselves, and they may say, okay, I want to start a business, I'll have fun. Do they really know how much they even need?
Mm.
Most people couldn't tell you.
Right,
Most
right.
people haven't written it down. And see, that's what these classes is for 6 weeks of classes will do. It's the first part one of Jumpstart and part two of Jumpstart. Through that 6 weeks of classes, you'll be able to see what your funding need is, the best
Okay,
way of doing it. Now, don't shake your head at $1,000 because $1,000 can turn easily into 10,000
right.
easily if
Okay,
you're doing the right thing. Then that 10 into 100 and so forth and so on. So
okay,
don't beget small beginnings. Begin where you are. Begin where you can get started. And
okay.
this is a way, but it's the whole thing of the training. And so, as I said, people coming through that training, we're going to have a pitch competition. They're going to pitch to me why their business idea is
Mhm.
worth funding. And then that at least one person will get that. And like I said, this like 6 weeks. So we're talking about some parts of March. So I'm planning a pitch competition in March.
Okay. Okay. Great. So we put a flyer in our comment section. If anybody wants to check it out, it's on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. You can check it out. It's on Eventbrite, flyer. So you can go in there and register, sign up.
Yeah,
And if you have any questions, just reach out to Phoebe Marketing Group, and they'll be able to help you navigate, any questions or concerns comments that you have. But definitely check it out. She does so many different things. And this is just not this is just the beginning. We have so many things that we're going to be doing with Yvonne down the line. So if you need help, you need expert advice, just stay tuned, and there'll be more. And or definitely check out our website,
absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
www.marketinggroup.com. Right. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I could talk to you forever, as you can, as you've seen. I mean, a wealth of knowledge. You have so much to share.
Thank you.
And I
Thank you.
appreciate you taking the time, because I know how much this session costs. So, I appreciate you, coming here and joining us and giving us this free advice. This is great, so.
Well, it's just no cost. I don't use the word free. It's no
Exactly.
cost.
Right.
I do this not only of giving information to people out there. Part of it, number one, I want people to know.
Right.
And those of you who are in a position and ready to move forward, and I say ready to move forward because
Mhm.
I'm very bottom line. Don't call me unless you're ready. It's like register if you're ready. With that, you then will learn more. But even in the general of learning things, and I always went in like, what did you learn? And I'm hoping, and I know people have gained something today, and that's why I do it. That's why I do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
the last comment I have here, Mr. Don Major says, Gaj and Yvonne, thank you for the opportunity. I know many people
Yeah.
have learned a lot from, this hour that we've been here, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you for giving us a chance to kind of learn something from you.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Fred. Thank you
Thank
so
you. So,
much.
before we go,
Uh-huh.
I just want to announce that we have another program coming up next week, which is going to focus on COVID. I actually wanted us to talk a little bit about COVID, but we didn't get a chance to, because I know you were in Washington, D.C., and with everything going on,
Mhm.
with this
Well,
whole.
one thing I'll say
Mhm.
regarding business in COVID is you have to look for opportunities. And I'll give you two quick examples.
Mhm.
Is in the entertainment, not entertainment, but hospitality had got
Okay.
hit really hard, hotels and whatever.
Yes,
And I have two
definitely.
particular clients or whatever, one here in DC, another one in New York City. Here in DC, that she was really a catering design company. So essentially all the events were canceled and so forth. But guess what? She started doing virtual cocktail parties.
Okay.
And I want to recall that maybe recently or whatever, within the last 6 weeks, or something like a cocktail party for over 200 people in Canada. They're on. Zoom was a virtual Zoom that she
Mm.
taught people how to do drinks. She mailed out the packages. The organizer organized it so individuals paid for it. And I can tell you each one was over $200. So you do the math.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. New York City, another person with, and I'll give her a plug, pizza cupcakes. It was shut down. Nothing was with that. And I said, think in terms of look at your client list. And I said, do you have any corporations that you're dealing with, whatever? A major corporation. I said, reach out to them,
Yeah.
ask them if you can send cupcakes to their employees who are teleworking. The manager gave her an order for 50, 2 dozen each, so 100 dozens
Yeah.
of cupcakes. Cupcakes sell for $48 a dozen. All right.
And that's what we talk about, pivoting, right?
Pivoting.
When things happen, just pivot. Don't just sit there and stick, in your boots and say, yeah.
It's more than making masks.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the business. If you weren't, and sure, some people, and I had some people just switch to made masks because they were sewing other stuff. That's fine. But if whatever your business is, think in terms of what you can do virtually that you not. I even have a daycare provider who are doing daycare virtually and doing storytelling.
Yeah.
In February, they're doing Black History lessons.
Yeah. And to add to that, I have a couple of, DJ friends who are doing amazing,
Yes.
They pivot.
Yes.
What they did? They are DJing virtual. So every weekend they have DJ sessions. They have people that tune in on Zoom or Facebook Live or whatnot. And, they enjoy the music and people are able to help donate and support what they are doing, so they're not just sitting there waiting for COVID to go so they can have another party.
Absolutely.
So shout out to DJ Albert, Miss Master Beto from Virginia. He's also from Virginia. And, another DJ group from Worcester, Massachusetts, who are also doing very, very amazing things.
Good.
Really, because people are tired of staying home and being indoors.
Yeah.
So you have these people coming out with different ideas and it's engaging others and helping them to kind of deal with the situation that we are in right now. If everyone, if you're out there listening, pivot, right? That's the key word tonight.
Pivot to
a lot you can gain from your business if you pivot.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So keep doing what you're doing. So Yvonne, thank you again so viewers, thank you for joining us. We are at the end of our show. I just want to make a quick announcement. Next Sunday, we have another program which is going to be focused on COVID-19. We'll be joined by Dr. Collins Quartin, who's from Georgia. He's medical doctor out of Georgia, and he's the founder and CEO of City of Hope Heart and Vascular Center. He's a cardiologist and a survivor of COVID-19. So he's dealt with it himself. He treats patients, and he's going to talk to us about what he experienced and, how it's changing and what he thinks we should all learn from this disease and how we should prevent ourselves from getting it in the first place. Wonderful. So next Sunday, the same time, 4 p.m., we'll be talking to Dr. Collins Quartin from Georgia. And please, I hope you can join us, learn something about COVID. Definitely avoid, prevent yourself from getting it, because he's going to really paint a very good picture because he's dealt with it, how bad this disease is. So let's all, taking care of ourselves, social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize. All right. So Yvonne, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And audiences, thank you for joining us and listening, and thank you for participating. A lot of comments here. We appreciate you, and we hope you can join us next Sunday.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.